The Faux Supremacy of Harvard, Chapter 3, the Harvard Supreme Court. Now, here's a spreadsheet of Supreme Court justices circa 1950. You can make your own conclusions. As you can see, it was a healthy representation of regular people coming from regular schools on the Supreme Court. That diverse representation does not exist today because Harvard University and its puppets in the new Ivy League have hijacked our nation. Our Supreme Court is now populated by Harvard, Yale, Ivy League cocksuckers who can't punch their way out of a paper bag, who can't sell hot chocolate to an Eskimo. They can't because they won't. And they won't because they have been indoctrinated into the power structure known as the Harvard cartel. They are corporate puppets, signed, sealed, and delivered. Supreme Court presents to you only the illusion of diversity. The Harvard hijacked leadership makes you think that because there are women, blacks, Hispanics, or other minorities in the Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court is diverse. But the Supreme Court is not diverse. It is not diverse because almost all its members attended Harvard or a new Ivy League school where there is inbreeding afoot. The justices think the same on matters of importance to corporate America. Indeed, they were groomed to think the same. And if they do not think the same way, they will not be promoted to the Supreme Court. A cowgirl from Wyoming who attends an elite institution ceases to become a cowgirl from Wyoming. Now, is there a cause and effect between the elitist composition of the Supreme Court in the past 70 years and the disintegration of our country? You bet there is. Now, this is the way it works. The people who get on the Supreme Court are blackmailed, if they can be. There's a reason for bringing up all these sexual peccadillos and other misdeeds during the hearings, to get the candidate to lie under oath. That way, when the power structure needs a critical vote in the future, the justice can be blackmailed into voting the approved way. As it pertains to the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, my belief is that the power structure already had the photographic evidence to show that he was engaging in the kinds of activities he was accused of engaging in. The power structure can bring that evidence forward anytime they wish, should Brett Kavanaugh not comply with their wishes. Now, does such evidence disqualify Brett Kavanaugh from being on the Supreme Court? Absolutely not. People do stupid things when they're young. Does lying under oath disqualify Brett Kavanaugh from being on the Supreme Court? Absolutely. But let's not pick solely on Brett Kavanaugh. He is not the only one who has lied under oath. It's a good bet that William Rehnquist and Clarence Thomas lied under oath during their hearings. So then if anyone can be blackmailed, why select only Harvard, Yale, and other new Ivy League graduates? Because you want people who are thoroughly indoctrinated into the corporate elitist structure that you are imposing upon society. You don't want to blackmail people unless you absolutely need to. Having people from a similar elitist mindset helps. It's worth pointing out again that our Supreme Court was quite different in 1949 and 1950. And here I'm going to provide a picture again so that you can see what the makeup of the Supreme Court was in those early years. And we can go over some names. Hugo Black, University of Alabama. Stanley Foreman Reed, Kentucky Wesleyan, Yale, University of Virginia. Felix Frankfurter, City College of New York, Harvard. William O. Douglas, Whitman, Columbia. Frank Murphy, University of Michigan. James Burns, Clemson, and apparently didn't go to a law school at all. How about that? Can you imagine that today? Robert Jackson, Jamestown High School. How about that? No college at all. Albany Law School. Wiley Rutledge, University of Wisconsin, Indiana University, Colorado Law. Harold Burton, Bowdoin, Harvard. Tom Clark, University of Texas. Sherman Minton, Indiana University. Now, since there was a transition at that time, there are 11 Supreme Court justices listed. Six come from outside the Ivy League, or six came from outside the Ivy League. Now, according to the logic of today, how do we ever survive? How do we survive with lightweights on the Supreme Court? And I use the term lightweight because that's what Arlen Specter intimated when referring to Harriet Miers when she was nominated to the Supreme Court. She was appointed by George Bush, and she went to SMU. And Arlen Specter, in so many words, if not actual words, said she was a lightweight. So how did we survive back then? Well, we did, and we did quite well. The better question, though, is how are we going to survive having the 9 new Ivy League elitists in the Supreme Court today? We won't. They will increasingly support decisions that favor the elite class. On that, they will be united. I don't care what political party appointed them. I don't care if they are a cowgirl from Wyoming. I don't care if they hop up upon a tractor to appear as a man of the people. When you attend a school like Harvard, you become indoctrinated into the cult of the best and the brightest. You become indoctrinated into a cult of elitism. Harvard is a religious cult. Now, we can all get indoctrinated. No one is immune from this. You only think that you cannot get indoctrinated. Now, it's not like the cult of Harvard is saying crazy things to its potential recruits. They aren't even telling their recruits that they're the best and the brightest. The recruits will come to that conclusion all on their own when they join the cult. When you attend Harvard and see people like Tom Hanks show up at your graduation ceremony, what else would you think? When you attend Harvard and receive guest lectures from former secretaries of state, what else would you think? When famous authors regularly drop by to speak to the class, what else would you think? Of course, you're going to arrive at the conclusion that you are one of the elites. Even if you had never lived on Earth before attending Harvard, you would still come to that conclusion. It's the same with the other Ivy League schools and those schools that have taken on Ivy League status. Those other schools, as I mentioned before, would be institutions like Stanford, UC Berkeley, Georgetown, MIT, and so forth. Such is the state of affairs now. We have Ivy League elitists on our Supreme Court. Elite schools produce elite results, and that is bad for us.